So today our topic of lecture is CIMT. It is a technique used for different neurological disorder patients. So what is CIMT? C means constraint, I means induce, M means movement, T means therapy. It is a constraint induce movement therapy. So it is one of the movement therapy technique which can be applied in different neurological disorder patient. Initially it was very successful in the hemiplegic spastic stroke patients. Later on it was given to spastic cerebrospastic children, and it was later on it still continue to expanding its boundaries to other neurological disease also. So we will learn that first what is basic about CIMT. It was first found out by the Edward Taub in 1960s-1980s when he did the study on monkeys. CIMT called movement therapy also. It is called constraint therapy too. So what is constraint induced movement therapy? It is a technique in which patient uses a concentrated repeated practice at the affected extremity in order to facilitate the movement. So it's a shaping behavior. Okay, it is shaping technique. In that a behavior technique in which quality of the movement is improved progressively in small steps. Okay, it does not progress so rapidly. It is the steps of the treatment protocols. It improves slowly and reorganize the brain too. So the family of techniques here it includes. So first step of the technique in CIMT is restraining of the non-affected upper extremity in hand splint and or the sling, so they may not be able to use that part. We subsequently shaping the hemiplegic upper extremity. So that will always shaping. Shaping means it is always try to develop the control, motor control or neural control of the affected extremity. Right. Second, you can also use wearing the gloves or the mitt. Mitt is a hard plaster. Okay, on less affected hand while shaping the hemiplegic hand. So shaping the hemiplegic hand, upper extremity or the lower extremity. Third step is without restraint of the unaffected side. The third step, it is the movement control of the hemiplegic upper extremity or lower extremity without restraint. It means now in the third step patients automatically start learning using the affected side. So at that stage you don't require to constrain unaffected side, right? And the fourth is intense physiotherapy of the hemiplegic side for 5 hours a day for 10 weekdays without restraint of unaffected side. Here the patient has to be advised to not to use unaffected side, right? So these are the family of techniques which CIMT includes. So it is a slowly step by step the patient progress. Okay, it's not like patient jump from direct first to fourth step. So this is introduction about the what is constraint induced. It means induced with the pressure or without permission, because no patient wants that to be in this frustration, because they are not allowed to use the unaffected side for the most of the activities when the patient is in a waking time. So it is really frustrated for the patient. It is we don't have to take the permission because patient won't give permission if you ask them for doing this therapy. But it is a type of repetition which increases the activity of the affected upper extremity. And typically, CIMT used to restart unaffected arm in the patient with neurological disease, especially in the spastic hemiplegic or spastic CP. Initially, it was used for the most of the time while involving the upper affected limb in a range of everyday living activities. So CIMT basic technique when the patient stop using this affected hand due to its unexpected activities. Because most commonly when the patient has the lesion, initially there will be facility, so they won't use the affected side, or they are not able to use the affected side, so they have the habit of using the unaffected limb. But when the movement even returns, then also they have the still habit of using unaffected side. So at that stage, this technique comes and play a role. So child or adult with a spastic hemiplegia has a less power on the one of that side. So he does not use that affected side due to his clumsy response and his neglecting behavior towards affected side, which is very common when the brain is affected or non-dominant hemisphere of the brain is affected. Again, this is a neglecting behavior is very common in hemiplegic CP or the hemiplegic adult. So, but even a CIMT technique is seeks to reverse this process. Okay, reverse this process of not using, reverse this process of using unaffected site. So, it helps to reverse that process. So, as a result of the engaging patient, the repetitive activity of the affected limb, brain develops new neural pathways. So, it is also referred to as cortical reorganization. So, CMT may work on the damaged motor network, and the effect of CMT is too good that it improves movement, not only stable for the months, but it also shows its functional outcome for the months after the treatment, and it can be applied and converted to the aerial activities of the affected limb. So these are the different contents we have to go through in this topic, starting from the objectives to the development of theoretical approach, reversing learn non-use, transfer to the humans, how the protocols were developed for the adult, why CMT works on cortical reorganization, how the dependent organization happens, its expanding application to which are the condition of the neurological disease, how it can be used for children, how the developmental disregard occur to the children, what is the criteria and protocol for the children and adults, what are the advantages, disadvantages of CMT, what are the boundaries or limitations, what are the evidences has done go through till now, and what is CMT versus what is a modified, and the references. There are so many things we have to go through there. So after that you will be able to discriminate this technique properly. So we start with that first. It is a objectives. Objectives to understand the background theory of the CMT, how evidence was developed, learn about the protocols for the children and adult, overview of the evidences of treatments and limitations which has been studied by different authors as scientists, understand our treatment criteria and protocol and the case studies. So this is the CMT was developed, we told you it is developed by the Edward Top when he was working with the monkeys in 1916 and 1980s. Here what happened, what his study did, the difference of the sensory nerves in the forelimbs results in a decreased function use and increased reliance on the unaffected limb. When the difference of the sensory nerves was done on the forelimb of the monkey, okay, here is the example, this is the left side of the monkey, that the left side of the upper extremity of the monkey is a different sensory nerve because it is so that upper limb of the left side become paralyzed. So this totally depend on the right side. So initially he was in the motor depression following insult because repetitive negative experiences by using the limb on affected side, but he got the positive experiences by using the limb from the unaffected side. So slowly learns to develop the non-use of the affected side, even the movement control return. Then also he was not using this side. That theory of this theory is called learn, non-use, develop. It was done in 1963. 1976 and 1980. So here's a flowchart for that. If there any injury, example like a stroke, there will be the depressed CNS and motor activity. There will be unsuccessful motor attempts. That will be patient will feel like a punishment because of the pain, failure to not to use affected limb or incoordinated movements. The behavior suppression and marks disability will happen. So even the patient get the compensatory behavior patterns and that the positive reinforcement on the unaffected side and less effective behavior is pinned down. So even it leads to the movement more effortful, very less movement possible in the affected side. So there is a constriction of the cortical representative zones developed in the brain. So that all leads to learn, non-use normally. Affected limb that will be permanent, but is reversible is possible. So here then after that when reversing non-use, okay, is the same monkey, okay, whose the left side was paralysis. So after what they do, they restricting the use of the unaffected limb for 24 hours, resulting in the improved use of the affected limb. Okay, but once after 24 hours the restriction was removed, we again start using the unaffected side. But when the restriction was given for the long period, for example like a 1 week of the 24 hours continuous restriction, then he will start using this limb. That was movement was clumsy, but it was functional. And when this affected limb was added with the task specific training, then the quality of the limb activity was improved, not to the normal but to the limit of the very good level. So this is the way once that the study was successful on the monkeys, then it was transferred to the humans. So the initial studies were looking only at the constant elements, means the force use of the affected extremity. Okay, result was promising, but treatment effect was very small when the treatment done by 1981. But Tom team implemented the full protocol, conscious of the unaffected side and intense training of the affected side. He took the patient of the more than 4 year post-stroke, split into two groups. One group that did the constant, other group that didn't give the constant. The experimental group who were giving the constant, they wore this meat, okay, or this plaster for 90% of the waking hours, 6 hour training per day for 14 days. When the control group was given passive movement treatment program. So experimental group, they show the significant increase in all objective measures and arm use in the 2 weeks and even at the 2 years follow-up time also. So no change was found in the control group. When even so many other studies also done on this type of patients by applying this constrained movement therapy, and they also get the statistically significant and clinical relevant improvements in the arm motor function that even persisted for 1 year post-treatment. So key elements were found for the CMT adults. They are restrain the less affected limb. If both the limbs are affected, the less affected limbs will be restrained. If the one side is only affected, then normal unaffected limb will be restrained. Shaping the behavior in the training task of the affected side. Assuring the patient to understand and conduct the training. Treatment provided by the well-trained physiotherapist, then only he can able to motivate the patient to involve in the treatment protocol. And transfer the package when whatever the patient learns at the clinic is not limited to the clinic only. It has to be transferred into the real life situation when they move to the home, and they have to be used in this ideal activity also. So that shows that continually body is reorganized in the cortex. So replacement is called use dependent. So that also was found in Braille readers, violin players, and stroke patients in different years. Resultant clinically altered but may not lost. Okay, for example, wave your fingers together and smudging noted after 30 minutes of distance, and even can last for 2 hours if the wave was done for 5 hours. So still are so many research was going on that, and CMT has repeatedly been associated with use dependent increase in the cortical organization. Even the study was done by Lippert in 1998 and 2000. It has shown that increase in the cortical regions of the affected hand after CMT, and the cortical changes will remain up to 6 months follow-up time. Then after this CMT was start expanding its boundaries, it was then applied to different neurological disorders. It was applied on a TBI, it was applied hemispherectomy, congenital hemiparesis adults, focal hand dystonia, nerve injury cases, Parkinson disease, multiple sclerosis, spinal cord injury cases. Even can apply to lower limb type of affected part of the neurological disease, and it was also shown its advantage in the speech therapy also when the patient has the aphasia, except global aphasia. So when this protocol was made for the children afterwards, the principle of CI therapy for the adult could be easily transferred to children. That was the Tom thought about, and he was directed to the children. And when he was directed to the children, there was a problem with the children is that the children suffer the CNS injury in a prenatal, perinatal, or early postnatal clinical situation. Unlike that, the adults we get the sudden CNS lesion. But the problem with the CNS of the brain in the children is that they still, if it is injury happen in the prenatal, perinatal, or early postnatal time, it is still the brain of the children is not developed to the maximum maturity. Still, there is a lack of the movement experiences and not appropriate sensory stimuli has been developed in the early development in the children. So, but still they are improving in the children's life. Then the brain of the children are still improving or still developing two sets of body orientation and midline activities as the age and the function use is improved. So when the CMT was applied for the children in 2004 first time, that they were given the randomized control trial for the 18 children with the Sebas palsy who are 7 months to 96 months old. The CMT was given versus conventional treatment. The casting to the unaffected arm, including even thumb and fingers, was given, Intense training was given to the affected side for 6 hours per day for continuously 21 consecutive days. They showed the significant improvement in motor skills and among the quality of the more affected arm used at home. Even that benefits were maintained for 6 months. Another study was done in 2004 by Delusa that also conducted cross-trial over trials with the same age group children, and they found the significant pre, post, and 3 weeks follow-up treatment. And even the Sasketsky also did the study in 2009, and he found the CMT result in large treatment effect on motor development of the newly upper limb motor skills and also increased amount of use of the impaired limb. And Sterling also did a study in 2013. It also replicated finding in changes in the gray matter of the children also when it was compared in the CT scan of the children. So there are still so many inconsistent outcome measures and intersection in terms of the control groups because every author has applied the different protocols, different outcome measures, and no studies was done on the same protocol. So there was need to be found out some particular protocol for the children as well as the adults. And still multi-site RCT was done with a 6-month follow-up in 2012. It compared 6 hours therapy per day for 3 hours per day. But when the cast was 1 for 20 hours, here they did not found any significant improvement in the groups. So then they developed this because of this unevenity in the treatment protocols. They developed the criteria and the protocol for the adult patient. The criteria is very important when you want to apply to any stroke patient with the affected hemiplegic side. There should be more than 6 months post-stroke patient. At least 10 degree of the active wrist and finger extension from any start position of the hand should be available. There is a minimum criteria to apply this technique when the limb is totally flaccid or there is lack of the movement or the tone is so much less where the patient does not have any active movement in the wrist or finger, then it's not showing its benefit. This time of application of the treatment is that the minimum degrees of the active participation from the finger wrist should be there. The cognitive ability to engage in treatment program there should be normal. Patient should not have any behavioral or cognitive disorders. And the protocol was found for the CMMT for the adult is the constant meet 1 for 90% of the waking hours, 3 hours therapy per day for 5 days a week, and 2 to 3 weeks program. Right, this is a criteria made for the adults. So similarly, the criteria also made for the children. Okay, that the criteria for the children were child should be minimum greater than 18 months old. It should be able to tolerate the treatment program because it is a very intense treatment program. Okay, enough play activity to be given in the children. Here there is no type of exercise given. All the treatment in the children will be given in the form of the play activities. Where different play they have to do with the affected side when the unaffected side is a constraint. And the parents and caregiver roles is too much to actually participate the children into the program even the post treatment. When the child is going from home from the clinic, then still this program is to be maintained at home by his closely attended trained caregivers or the family members. It is a must criteria for the children. So the protocol is non-removable cast one for the children, but it should be changed every week in the children. And the 3 hours therapy to be day, 5 days a week, but it's all the therapy. It's the same protocol like adult, but the therapy of the treatment is totally play-based activities, and the treatment duration is more than the adult. It's a 3 to 4 week program. So these are the different boundaries they found for the applying the CMT when the CMT was used for the children, and they found that in the event they apply on the adult, they found some of the boundaries or limitations for the CMT to get the significant improvement. So what are the boundaries that they find the limitations in the CMT application? CMT does not make the movement normal. It only makes some clumsy movement or some level of the functional movement. CMT cannot restore the motor function to match the unaffected side. Right? And effect of CMT is determined by severity of the initial impairment. If the brain lesion is so severe in the children or in the adult, it is a severe impairment in the brain or severe impairment of the disability in the patient, then the CMT does not give any improvement. And when the top was or the study in 2007, he found that retention rates tend to be 70% at the 6-month follow-up. And one of the important factors contributing good retention was the compliance of the recommended post-treatment regime. Means the patient who's maintained the post-treatment regime properly, then they have the good retention. Otherwise, most of the patients there will be retention in the rates. It is 70% at the 6-month post follow-up of the treatment. Then he suggested top up of the CMT may be beneficial in future years if the CMT protocol can be modified in the future years. Okay, then it can be benefited for the future children or the adults with the same impairments in the affected side. So there was given that the input that it should be modified in such a way that it can be applied to all the populations and all the drawbacks should be removed. So that after that, so I tell you the references for that. Case study we'll take now. These are all the references. Okay, so now we go to the how that we modified and how the modified protocol came out. Okay, that we see now. So this is just the introduction what we did in a CMT. Okay, just a brief revision. CMT involves considering the unaffected limb along with the intense therapy in order to focus use of the affected limb with the intent to improve motor function. We've seen that history. The Edward Top was this study was done first initially on the surgically differentiated monkeys. It was known as learn non-use theory. Then the three components of CMT is applied: distance of the unaffected arm, repetition, structure, intense practice of the affected arm, and monitor the use arm in the live situation and even the problem solving to overcome the barriers. There's the main three components of the CMT program. The technique in use, we can use a different type of restraint like a sling, gloves, splint, or plaster to be applied on the unaffected side. And total time of restraining should be 90% waking hours as per CMT protocol. The treatment should be given 6 hours per day of the intense therapy on consecutive weekdays, and it should be 2 to 3 week period of time. Right, the minimum inclusion criteria we have seen, it is up to minimum 20 of wrist extension should be available, up to minimum 10 degree of the thumb abduction, and up to 10 degree of the finger extension. If the patients are matching with this inclusion criteria in pediatric or the adult hemiplegic spastic child, then this treatment is come to play a role. So there are, you can see about what are the advantages of CMT and what are the disadvantages. So there are some of the advantages which shows that overall great improvement was found in functional compared to conventional treatment, but disadvantages it is requires enormous effort, or we have to work throughout the day or behind the child or the adult for restraining and to get the work from the affected side. The advantage is the second advantage is a highly researched treatment program. Okay, but disadvantage is the patient endures many hours of the frustration. They live in the frustration because they're not able to use the unaffected side, and they know the most of the activity they will not able to do with the affected side. So that leads to the frustration also. Another third advantage is the increased social participation. When the any patient gets some improvement after CMT, so they will be involving very active in the social participation because they are now able to do some of the activity with the affected side, so they are happy and they don't sigh now to go out and meet the other people. But addition is the patient can suffer from the muscle soreness resulting in the stiffness and discomfort in the inward upper extremity as well as the skin lesions that can happen to the patient when they use this affected side. And next advantage is the cortical reorganization we observe light in the previous slides, but disadvantage is the beneficial not for the stroke or Hinge patients who have the severe impairments. So there are some advantages, there are some disadvantages. So based on that, they found the outcome of that and they found the modified CMT protocol. Okay, so on the what basis they found they tried to found the modified CMT protocol, because so many research evidences was done on the CMT. Okay, so what the result they found, so you can see the different evidence of the treatment when the RCT was done in 2000. Okay, when the patient inclusion criteria was acute stroke patient, the result was CMT was associated with the less arm impairment at the end of the treatment. When the another RCT was done in 2002, when the children with the hemiparesis CP was taken, when the case was hemiparesis, they found very drastic and sustained improvement in the motor functions. When the another RCT was done in 2006, when the patient of 3 to 9 months after stroke was taken, it was shown that clinically relevant improvement seen persisting even after 1 year too. When the RCT, another RCT was done in 1998, where they taken the patient of chronic stroke with the upper extremity motor deficit, they found the result of intervention was general applicability. When the RCT was done in 2007, where the subacute stroke patients were taken, the CMT has shown the little difference on overall outcome in the motor impairments. And then when the meta-analysis study was done in 2010, all RCT and RCT from the January 2009 to April 2010 was included. In that, they found the result is majority of studies were unpowered and imprecise, exposing analysis to the small study bias. So large RCT needed to be resolved unscientific. So all these studies, if you go through, they found the majority of the conditions. If you go to majority of the study, when they taken the chronic stroke, okay, with the more affect with the affected extremity is more affected, then the results are not so good. When the affected extremity is a hemiparesis type, the results are too good. And some of the studies you found that outcomes are still having Lippert general applicability. Okay, so to come out this, they found the modified protocol. So what is a modified CMT protocol? They're made to promote better compliances. So the protocol is now changed from many hours, it is changed to 30 minutes of one-to-one treatment for 3 days a week. Means you have to work for the 5 hours a day in a distance weekdays for 10 weeks. You have to work for 5 hours, but every 30 minutes you have to take one-to-one treatment therapy, right? For 3 days a week. It is now only 3 days a week. And the treatment time is 5 hours a day only, not like previously 90% of the awake time. But the treatment duration has increased from 2 to 3 weeks or 3 to 4 weeks. Now the duration has increased in the modified CMT is 10 weeks, right? So there are references for this, right? So now we see the different use of this. Yeah, fine. So we will just revise that. We have gone through till here contents. Okay, now you know the limitations and boundaries of CMT. Right, it does not make the movement normal. Patient will suffer profound affectionary paralysis from the condition is not helpful. Patient not cooperative is also not helpful. Patient with the balance problem, they are also difficult to impart this CMT treatment. Patient with the communication problem, they also may have the cognitive problems. So it's not, there are limitations for CMT. Patient cannot tolerate intense treatment because you know treatment is totally based on intense physiotherapy treatment. Right, so if the patient not able to tolerate this many hours of treatment in a day, then again it is as a drawback and lack of facility for both the physiotherapist and the patient to continue at home. So that are the individual boundaries. So on that basis, we gone through that protocol. Now you can compare both the protocols on the screen. What was the previous protocol? Arm hand with the meat or sleep 90% of the time in a clinic 5 days a week, 6 hours in a clinic and 2 weeks. Where the modified protocol has reached to the 5 hours per day only, not the 90%, but they have to go for only 3 days a week. It's 30 minutes treatment, one-to-one treatment, right? One-to-one treatment, one-to-one exercise for the 30 minutes at a time in a clinic, and it should be done for only 5 hours a day, but it should be progressed for 10 weeks, right? So we can see the different now photos. Now how did it apply to the stroke patient? Okay, how the stroke patient to be applied, you can see here in the photographs adults affected hand and upper limb activities, CMT technique, how they're using for different activities with the affected side when the unaffected side is constrained in the gloves or meat, okay, or any type of slings we can use. You can see the different upper limb and hand function activity they are doing, like slicing the bread or watering, they're doing some pegboard activities. You can see different hand skill activities also in the future when the outcome is very good. Then you can also see here that patient is using different skill activities also by using affected extremity. Here you can see the different hand function activity the patient is doing, right? And he is also trying to eat with the affected side. So different hand function activity also can be achieved. Okay, and there is also book available for CMT induced movement therapy for adult. When we go to the pediatric also, it has also given a very good reference, a very good improvement in pediatric patient also. There's a book for the pediatric continuous movement therapy also available. Efficacy of the continuous movement therapy in terms of children with cerebral palsy. There are so many articles also has been published. You can see is very best effect you can see in the hemiplegic pediatric child, okay, where the one side is affected and they have to constrain that unaffected limb. They also have shown this effect in the motor planning and hair control in pediatric patient. Okay, here you can see a different pediatric childs. They use doing the hand function activity like his painting, his eating, his playing with the or affected upper extremity. When the unaffected side you can see this all are in the constraint, the meat or the plaster. You can see the different fun activities. Here we know there's a difference between adult and pediatric. It is what are the activities you give in the pediatric. It should be always, it's not in a form of the exercise, it's always in the form of the fun activities. They only the children will participate in your treatment program because it is an intense duration in a day for a very long time. So we have to give the different play activity type of therapy to the children to make him impact or participate in the treatment program. There is also research done on continuous movement therapy in pediatric cerebral palsy child. The result was shown that there was 20% improvement in the function of hemiplegic upper limb children, right, with the 3 weeks intense treatment and the given to the CP child. Okay, even it's just so much done on the hemiplegic child also. That also did the study on the one hand or two for the children with hemiplegia. The effectiveness of the CMT was seen. Then the outcome was impacting developmental disease of inward extremity. They used the protocol of the constraint of the non-hemiplegic hand, massive practice of hemiplegic hand like a play and self-care. That activities they included, and the intense treatment was given to 2-week intervention, 4 hours per day, and these are the outcome. So even the so many studies are done to improve motor recovery also with the CMT. Right? Even CT scan show the changes in the brain after CMT. That also has been found in the research. Fine. So thank you all. I would like to show you one video last. So how that may use. And this is an Australian Continuous Movement Therapy Center, okay, in Australia. So you can see how they use. So this is the example how they use continuous movement therapy in the Australia. It's used by the occupational therapy as well as physiotherapists also.
I recently delivered a CIMT program. We ran it for 2 weeks where patients came and were at therapy at the hospital for 4 hours a day.
My name is Corinna Gertley and I'm 58 years old and I had my stroke on the 22nd of September 2014.
You can see here, this is the lady having the stroke. He has a severe impairment in his affected upper extremity and hand. Okay, now you can see that is how it is improving with this CMT treatment.
As a result of my stroke, I find that my life has changed dramatically because I am no longer able to work and all of a sudden you wake up and you can't, function in your daily life. I am June Mitchell.
Another patient of the stroke.
1 years old and I had my stroke 18 months ago. And impacted a few bits. I used to work and now I can. I can go shopping. I can go myself anywhere.
The patients wore their mitt all day, so they'd wake up in the morning and put their mitt on, and they would take it off only when they would go to sleep. They would also need to do 30 to 60 minutes of an additional home exercise program and training for when they were home. On the weekends, the patients would still wear their mitts and complete an hour of their therapy, as well as using their affected hand for all all other activities throughout the day.
It's intense for the 2 weeks, but I just got so much movement and some more like confidence in myself. And you take all that and you do it at home. You know, you keep doing it. I had 2 goals in the that I did in the program, and one was I wanted to be able to blow dry my hair, which I can get my arm up to blow dry my hair now. And the other one was to be able to hang washing and peg it on the line, and I was able to do that as well.
It helped.
You see that in that white t-shirt lady told she has a less impairment compared to the previous one patient. She had the goal that I should be able to use my affected limb for just combing my hair and washing the clothes and tying up to the thread. So they have the some goal, at least I should be able to reach to that minimum functional activity. They have the goal, and they did the intense treatment program for the 2 weeks. When the white t-shirt lady has the less impairment compared to the another stroke survivor, okay, that therefore the white t-shirt lady got a very nice excellent improvement even in the severely affected stroke patient who has but some available functional movements as per our protocol, that she also got the good improvement in the treatment. And even she has also some goal in her life that I can able to do this, I can have this much minimum function in my life. You can please see it.
Me like challenge myself, and I was motivated to improve in the different tasks that I was given, and also seeing the other participants, I sort of got competitive, and when I saw someone being able to do something, I knew that I could try and I could do better, and I think that was a great motivation.
I can vacuum. I can go to the mailbox and get the mail. I couldn't do that before. I could do the cleaning, everything.
One of the main benefits that I saw with the CIMT program was just the incredible changes that the patients had. These patients I've seen for years, but I haven't seen an improvement that's been so drastic and significant as through the CIMT program.
You can see here when the patient learns to start using affected side, then there is no need to restrain the unaffected side, right? That you can point out here.
They just made so many functional changes, and there was just so many smiles and just happy tears at the end of those 2 weeks because they just had achieved so many goals that were just such a big deal for them.
I noticed that after the program, I didn't have to think twice about using the affected hand, and I think that was because with the good hand being restrained, now I consciously try and use the bad hand as much as I can, and I think that was very beneficial to my daily living. It's the best thing that I've done in rehab.
I just made a lot more confident, a lot more independent. In the supermarket, she was scared in the supermarket before she pushed the trolley. It's just a lot of different things. There was times we'd both stand there and laugh, and she would nearly knock herself out with that shaking with the hair dryer, but now she can do that quite confidently. And just a lot happier in herself. Just the confidence you every day, and it just grew and grew, and give her the tools to make her life a hell of a lot better, and the benefit both of us.
You see the patient is near normal, not normal 100%, right? But he can able to do the functional activities.
Yeah, it just makes you stronger.
So, thank you everyone. I think you enjoyed that lecture, and I think you will be very clear about the CMT technique now. Thank you very much all.